You're now tuned in to By the Dipshits exclusive content. This is part 3 of a 3-part interview with O.D.B. last manager Jarred Weisfeld. Before we jump into the interview, By the Dipshits want to give a special thanks to our sponsors. What is Galaxy Wells? Galaxy is a metaphor which represents infinite space. Their goal is to dominate the infinite space in the digital publishing universe. Wells are the major corporation that possess endless amounts of content. What do? They turn content into currency in the digital space, the home of the NFTs. You want to keep your ownership and intellectual property? Then stop what you're doing and go to galaxywells.com. Now I'm back to By the Dipshits. So wait, so let me ask you though. So how did the whole Rockefeller deal come about then?
Somebody at he knew that we were doing a show at VH1, right? And like I said, he's never met a camera he didn't like. And so, he signed Dirty to Rockefeller, and he became part of that show as well. So, and then, Dirty was recording, and, Dirty would do the Howard Stern show and Dame Dash would show up, right? Dirty would do this and Dame Dash would show up, right? So it was kind of like, and I'm not going to lie to you, on Dirty's recording contract, it says, Dame Dash, Kareem, and Sean Carter, right? Dame Dash signs, Kareem signs, Sean Carter, Big X didn't sign it. You know why he didn't sign it? Because that was the beginning of the end for Rockefeller. Was Jay-Z? They had parted ways, right?
So I gotta ask you then, if that's the case, were there any other labels besides Rockefeller that was trying to sign Dirty when he came home, or was it? And if so, why did you guys go with Rockefeller?
Were there were other people that were interested, right? But nobody was willing to do what because that's what Dirty wanted. Dirty wanted that label, right? He asked for it, right?
Okay.
Other people say that that they had him set up at this place or that place, right? I'm sure you've read it in the press that Wu-Tang claims they had a deal for him, but he wanted Rockefeller, so we got him Rockefeller.
So how was his enthusiasm about Rockefeller overall?
He was happy. He was happy he got to go back to making music, right? His biggest thing was like, if I'm not doing drugs, like, how am I going to be creative? And I was saying to him, I was like, it wasn't the drugs that were making you creative, man. You're just a creative dude. Like, just go get a rhyme dictionary. Well, he asked me for a rhyme dictionary. And I'm like, what is that? And he's like, just go to the bookstore. They got rhyme dictionary. Just get one. I was like, okay. So I went to the Barnes and Noble and I'm like, do you guys have rhyme dictionaries here? They were like, yeah. I go, by the way, what's a rhyme dictionary? And they were like, it's all the words that rhyme with one another. I'm like, oh, I wish I had that in school. So I got the rhyme dictionary, I brought it to him, and he started writing his music, right? We did some weird things, right? Like he did a collaboration with Jay-Z Chazé from NSYNC, right? He got paid a lot of money for it. He did one with Slum. Like I remember the Slum Village one, right? They wanted him to do a song with them, right? And Dirty, like, I made an arrangement with the gentleman from the guy from the label of Slum Village, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be this amount of money, and I need a cashier's check. And they were like, well, we can't get you a cashier's check. I was like, hey, he can't go in the studio then. They go, what do you mean? I said, money up front, or he's not going to do it, right? Because I'm not having him go into the studio, do a song, and then come out and not going to happen. And so they sent somebody on an airplane with a cashier's check, gave it to us. And but while I knew they were in midair, I was like, Dirty, go do the song. And he did the song. and he got the money like that second, right? So it was kind of like it worked out. So that was my whole thing was like I didn't trust anybody. I mean anybody. Like I thought everybody in that industry was completely full of shit. So I didn't trust anybody. So I waited for that, and then into the JC Chazé had a song coming out, and they were like, would Dirty be on it? I'm like, the money's right. And they offered us some like a sick amount of money, right? But back then, in order to like for that deal to go through, you had to like somebody at a certain record label needed to get paid in order to sign off on that deal, right? And this time it wasn't, it wasn't Wu-Tang, it was like another record label, right? Maybe Rockefeller. So they took a piece of his in order to sign off on it, right? JC, the song, they had to get paid, right? So they took a piece of Dirty share. So Dirty does the album, and Dirty, they came back and they're like, yeah, we really the verse didn't work for us. I was like, okay. They go, we know you paid. I was like, no, I know you paid us. I was like, if the verse doesn't work for you, no problem. We'll go right back into the recording studio and we'll fix it up, right? We'll give you another bar. That doesn't work for you, we'll give you another bar. Like you guys could be in there with us, right? We want to make you happy. You paid us. Like and they said thank you. So they came into the studio. They loved the second verse, right? So they go, we're going to turn this into a music video, right? So I got him a music video bonus in his contract, right? So if they shot a music video, they had to pay him more money. So they shoot a music video. And now, mind you, Dirty has no clue who NSYNC is, right? Like zero clue. Never heard of them before. Has no idea who they are. Doesn't even remember the lyrics he wrote for this song, right? So he says, so my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, I actually met at an NSYNC concert, right?
Right.
She sat in the row behind me the first night and the row in front of me the second night of NSYNC concert, right? We had a mutual friend, and just so happens out of 18,000 people, she was behind me and then in front of me, right? And so we were dating at the time, and I was like, yeah, JC from NSYNC. She's like, yeah. I was like, why don't you take off from work? I'm gonna go do a video shoot with him, right? And so she's like, huh? I was like, yeah, come on, you'll go meet him. So we go, we're sitting on the couch, it's me and my wife, JC, and I don't know who he had, my girlfriend at the time, and I don't know who he had. And then there's Dirty over there trying to like learn his words, right? And now the two of them have no fucking clue who each other are, right? So I go and I whisper to Dirty, I go, yo, Dirty, I got to introduce you to JC, it's his song. And he's like, yo, who is this kid? I was like, he's in a group called NSYNC. He's like, what's that? I was like, dude, it's like the biggest group in the world right now. He's like, oh, I was like, it's kind of like the Beatles. He was like, oh yeah? I was like, yeah, it's kind of not really the Beatles, but like it's got that kind of popularity. So I was like, it's a boy band. So he was like, oh, okay. And then he looks at me and goes, what's the name again? I was like, NSYNC. His name's JC, right? So I was like, JC, I want you to meet, Dirty, right? So Dirty comes over and he goes, man, I love your music. I'm such a huge fan. And then without missing a beat, he looks at me and he goes, what's the name of that group again? And I said, NSYNC. He goes, yeah, I love NSYNC. But he asked, like, what's the name of that band again in front of JC?
Oh my God.
Like completely.
That sounds like Dirty, man. It's hilarious.
Like completely nonchalant. It was hysterical. And then he does like the music video, and then we go on we go away and we go do our thing. But yeah, no, it was like, that was just like a really funny moment. And then the Elvis Presley estate called us up and they're like, oh yeah, we're doing a whole bunch of stuff with Elvis and we're remixing all of his songs with different people. And we think, Dirty would be a right fit. I was like, listen,
wow.
Before we take this any further, why don't you call up the estate and make sure that they're cool with this? And they call up the estate and they call me back and they're like, yeah, we're not cool with this. We don't.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I think that just to show you how much Dirty didn't know about music from being behind bars, right? And how much I didn't know about music at all, right? Hip hop music, knew nothing about it. So Dirty gets out of jail and he goes and he does, this is a crazy story that I don't think anybody, nobody could, when I'm about to tell you, you're going to be like, this kid should never have managed Old Dirty Bastard, and Old Dirty Bastard, I can't believe, was in hip hop music. So we get a phone call that somebody wanted to do a song with Dirty, right? So Dirty's in the recording studio, and like Dirty goes into a recording studio, he wants to get paid, right? So Dirty calls me up. He's like, they got me in a recording studio with some dude I never heard of. I was like, who is he? He goes, Kanye West. I was like, I've never heard of him either. And he's like, they tell me in like a week he's going to be the biggest thing in music. He goes, I don't do anything for free. You tell him I want money, right? So I called the record label up. I'm like, yo, Dirty needs about 25 to do this. They're like, he wants to get paid to be on a Kanye West song? I was like, yeah. They go, does he know who Kanye West is? I was like, no, neither do I. Who is he? And they go, he's about to be like the biggest thing in music. So Dirty like calls me up. He's like, yo, I can't deal with this shit. He's like, I just gave him bars and I just left. Right? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know, man. He's on Rockefeller. They say he's big. I never heard of him. And like a week later, right? He's blowing up everywhere. And Dirty calls me up. He's like, and we both like look at it like we both like we're just like, holy shit, like what did we do?
Fucked over that situation quick.
Dirty's like, what? Dirty's like, I had never heard of him before. And I was like, I never heard of him either. He's like, he's everywhere. I was like, I get that. I was like, our bad.
Wow. Did the members, but did any members of the Wu had like major issues with that whole Rockefeller contract, that him signing? I know you said prior that they sent the cease and desist, but was it anybody particular who was really upset about that whole contract that he signed with Rockefeller?
Yeah.
By the Dipshits, premium content, streaming everywhere.